YOLO everyone, so welcome to the YOLO learning again. This is final boss floor, and after this I will say you have mastered the skills and it should be quite okay for you to write the test. You should feel quite confident in it too. So let's take a look at this one. The boss. It's hard, so pay attention to this. You are designing a Ferris wheel. The bottom of the control booth is 70 meters from the center of the Ferris wheel directly. Now, directly means not the ground distance, direct from that to the center through the air per se, at an angle of elevation of 40 degrees. The radius of a Ferris wheel is 50 meters. To pass the safety regulation, and this actually does happen in real life, the wheel cannot go under the ground. Well, Ferris wheel going under the ground, I don't know. I mean, who'd actually enjoy riding it, or it actually can become a devastating disaster. Now, would you start the construction assuming the design fits the safety requirements? So let's actually take a look at this. Again, the word problem, draw. So I will draw the Ferris wheel. So let's draw the Ferris wheel first. Ferris wheel right there. And then I will draw the ground. I'm not sure whether the ground will be there or not, but I'll just draw it here. The control center is right there. It looks like a mushroom.
Nope.
The center of the Ferris wheel is over there. Now, I assume the distance between the foot of the control center and the center of the Ferris wheel is 70 meters. And I know that the radius is 50 meters and the angle of elevation is 40 degrees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call this point as A, B, and obviously this is then B, 70 is A, and the 50 is B. Now take a look at this. Again, we're not sure whether the Ferris wheel goes under the ground or not. We're not sure. I just drew it to make it easier for us to visualize. This looks very similar to an ambiguous case of a sine law. I mean, think about it. If my Ferris wheel is above the ground and this is the radius, then it's safe, but it means we're not forming the triangle. If that's the other case where it meets the ground, so let's say it meets the ground, then we do have a one triangle because it is a right angle triangle, but it's not going under the ground. But if we do have the Ferris wheel that goes through the ground or under the ground, there will be two triangles because even from this drawing, I can draw it as that way. And we do have two triangles this way or that way. So then that's a problem. So as long as we do not form two triangles, we're safe to start the construction. So let's take a look at this then. This is the opposite side. This is the other side. So obviously 50 is not bigger than 70. Opposite is not bigger than the other side. That means we have possibilities of 2, 1, or 0 triangles. Remember, if the opposite is bigger than the other side, there's only one triangle. So then let's take a look at it.
Sine 40 over 50 meters equals sine B over 70 meters. And we just need to see whether the sine B is between 0 and 1, bigger than 1, or equal to 1. So then we multiply 70 to the other side over there, so it becomes 70 sine 40 over 50 equals sine B. And if you do the calculation, the 70 sine 40 over 50 equals 0.8999.
Unless I did the calculation wrong, in my head, of course I'm joking, I cannot do this in my head.
What?
Then equals a sine B. From this, we know that 0.8999 is less than 1. That means my sine B is less than 1 or greater than 0, obviously. Therefore, this creates two triangles. Therefore, it goes under the ground. Therefore, no construction. So this is fairly simple question in terms of the calculation wise. However, coming up with what to do is actually quite difficult. So make sure you do understand this one. And if you don't, leave a comment below. I will answer those. Okay. So please do. Otherwise, this is not going to happen automatically on the test. You really do need to understand truly. So you beat the boss. Everything's good to go. You want the treasure, which is locked in the room. So let's actually get to that. So the treasure is this. As someone will say, what is this? This is not a treasure. It is treasure. Well, your brain is kind of working, so our brain is getting smarter. Now, the identity. So the left side, the right side. The right side is 4 tangent squared x. So the left side is square root of 1 plus sine x over square root of 1 minus sine x minus square root of 1 minus sine x over square root of 1 plus sine x, and then everything squared. Obviously, left side looks much more complicated than the right side, so it is our gut basically telling us to start with the left side. Then here's the question. What do we do? First, the difference is this. We have a tangent on the right side. We don't have that on the left side. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. Second thing, right side doesn't have the square root signs, but the left side does. The left side has a fractions, no fractions on the right side. So those are the three clues that you have to work on. So let's actually take a look at this separately. One term, two terms. So you have to get rid of that two terms so that it becomes one term. So what I will do is I will actually combine these two fractions into one term. So using the common denominator, and you learned this in a previous unit, I believe. So your common denominator is a square root of 1 minus a sine x and square root of 1 plus sine x. Obviously, then you multiply this to this side, this to that side over there. So it will be square root of 1 plus sine x squared, since you're multiplying the same thing over, minus square root of 1 minus sine x squared, the whole thing squared. Let's simplify the inside. So the top actually becomes very simple and easy. Since the square and square root cancels each other out, I have 1 plus sine x minus, warning, you have a minus. That means your brackets stay. Do not remove it. Now, then the square root and square cancels each other out. So 1 minus sine x inside of the brackets. Then the bottom down here, we have 1 minus something, 1 plus something. Well, if you take a look at that, that's just the difference of squares. So it is a square root of 1 minus sine squared x. Then let's simplify further. We have the whole thing squared over there. We still have the fraction. Now, take a look at it. This actually becomes 1 plus sine x. The negative sign affects both, so it's negative 1 plus sine x. The 1 minus sine squared x is actually a cosine squared x, right? If you take a look at it, it was a sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Cosine squared is 1 minus sine squared, which is exactly the same as this. Therefore, we can switch that with cosine squared x. And we're almost done. So the top then is minus 1 plus 1, they cancel each other out. I have 2 sine x over. Now the bottom is just the cosine squared x being square rooted. Therefore the square and the square root cancels each other out. I have cosine x at the bottom. And I have square the whole thing. Remember sine over cosine? This, except for 2, is a tangent. Therefore this is 2 tangent x squared. And we do square that. Remember the square applies to both of these. So we have 4 tangent squared x. Your left side equals the right side. Treasure done. You can now go throw things and say, I've mastered the skill of trigonometry junior. Well, not too fast. You still have senior. So wait for that. And then you may want to throw. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this was beneficial for your comprehension on trigonometry junior in grade 11. If you liked the video and if this was beneficial, please don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button. That will be appreciated a lot. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comment below. I'll try my best to answer it as quick and as fast as I can. Okay? Alright, thanks for watching YOLO channel. I'll see you guys in the next dungeon. Bye bye.